Welcome back, everybody. It's Tom with Charlees Props, and today we're going to talk about aligning your show, both 2D and 3D. And we're also going to talk about something that I found out about our own spiral trees when I was aligning this show. So let's get to it. All right, everybody, so here we are. We're going to be in Xlights. We don't need to look at anything live. This is actually a layout that I had done for a commercial venue a few years ago. We had sold them some of the props from our show that were not from us from years past. And then we also sold them a bunch of our props. So you're going to see props from multiple vendors in this layout. It's not an overly big layout. It was just a courtyard that you could walk up to, and they had a show in there. But it was all set up in 2D. So this is how you do alignment in 2D. So normally when we sequence throughout the year, you have a photo of your house, and then you start your layout. You put all the props where you think you want them. You're not entirely sure on size. And my recommendation is get a vague idea, but don't spend too much time trying to get it exactly right, because if you follow this next method, it is exceptionally easy to get perfect alignment for your lights to make those all or group effects really, really shine. So let's take a look. Okay, so here we are. If we look at the layout, this is generally what the layout looked like. I know some of it went off screen, but again, you start with your photo of where the layout's going to be. That's exactly what we did here. And then after you get all the props set up, what you then do is you set everything to white. So just do a real quick test pattern. You can still do bars if you want, but really bars is going to help you just check for alignment. The best way to do alignment in 2D is turn your lights on, turn them on to white so they stand out, get a new photo from the exact same perspective, hopefully the same spot that you took your old photo from, just to make it easier. And then you come into Xlights, you replace the background image with the new one that you just took with the lights on. Now when we zoom in here, you're going to see that what you can do now is you can literally see, so each of these white dots represents the prop in actual real life where it is. Now we can see that we're pretty close here, but what I'm going to watch for here is if we look at the little yellow dots, those are the pixels of this. Now notice how well they're starting to align here, especially on this circle here. And when we back out, it may not be exactly perfect. Part of that has to do with the X model. X models on props, they have to follow some certain rules, but what we're going to do here is actually make it just a little bit bigger, not a whole lot. It's jumping more than I'd like here. There we go. So again, realign this here, get it really nice. So this center circle here is what I'm looking at. The rest of it, I would say at this point, maybe this is still a little too big and it needs to be made just a little bit smaller. So again, that is very, very accurate, especially when you step back and take a look. That is going to be within, because this prop is so tight, that is every single light is within, I would say, a quarter of an inch, if that. So, stepping back, that is really, really good alignment. You can see here that when we had done this for them here as well, this alignment is nearly spot on as well. Same with this guy here. Everything's just about where it needs to be, just very slight adjustments. I'm kind of looking around the eyes here. And again, there's going to be a slight variation, and that has to do with how the model is created. Sometimes it's really hard to create a curve within the model design, and yet when you cut the prop out and in real life, it's a perfect curve. So anyways, this is how you can get a extremely accurate alignment if you are running 2D. Again, you start with your original photo, you do all your sequencing, everything you need to do, and then after everything is set up, turn the lights to white, get a new photo, replace your photo, and then just come on in here and align everything as needed. So that's it. And then you do your batch render, you upload back up, and everything's going to look amazing, perfect alignment. Now let's go check out how to do 3D in real time. All right, so here we are, we're outside. My personal show has a 3D layout, so that's what we're going to do here. Now, 3D is a little bit trickier because with 2D, as we already discussed, you've got a single image, you can upload a new image, and then you're done. Well, you can't exactly do that with 3D. You can't exactly get a new 3D rendering once the lights are on. So this is what I came up with, and it seems to work very, very well. I'm currently on my show network, and I have capacity to output to lights here. So I'm just going to create a very basic sequence that has bars, the same way that you can always do with your standard lights, and we're going to output to lights here to be able to see what's going on. Now this has already been mostly aligned, but I just want to show you this method. You can do bars left to right, right to left. Obviously you're outputting to lights, you're in front of your show. Now it should be noted that the laptop that I'm on right now is actually not our sequencing laptop, our computer. Our sequencing computer is an Apple Mini, which is inside the house and is a desktop. So what I did was I copied the basic XML files for Xlights onto a USB drive, and I set that as the show, the show directory here within my laptop Xlights, and I can come outside, wirelessly sit in a chair, and watch for alignment. And so what you do is you identify areas that don't look like they're aligned the way that you want. So in order to fix them, you can come in here and you can, what I found, at least with this version of Xlights, yes, I'm on an older version, but on this version of Xlights, if you actually just move to the layout, if you can see on the video, it actually pauses where it's at that particular point, so you can move back and forth if there's a specific area that you're looking for on your show, to try to pause, and then you can make an adjustment. So let's say we need to adjust the infinity spinner. We can select the infinity spinner, we can move it up and down if it lets us grab it. So if we need to move this up and down, we can move it up and down just like that. And then when you hit save, what you will want to do is you will want to hit stop and then render. Wait, it'll only take a couple seconds, even if it's a slower laptop. And then you can output again, and then you can double check your alignment. And it's really that simple. Just real time, make little adjustments here and there. Okay, so now what I'm going to show you guys is the issue that I identified with the spiral trees. So if you don't have spiral trees, feel free to end the video here. Thanks for watching. But for our spiral trees, as you can see over here, and these spiral trees, I could not get aligned correctly. Last year I got them what I thought was good enough. And as it turns out, if you look at the direction of the spiral, it starts at the bottom and it runs clockwise. Now, if we come out here and we look at the layout here, it looks pretty accurate. It looks like a nice spiral tree. And let me pull up the spiral tree here now. Oops. Okay, so let's say we're looking at spiral tree 3 here. Now, if we rotate this and then zoom in, this is actually running counterclockwise. And at first I could not figure this out. I was trying to get this to work the way that it's supposed to, and I thought, oh no, this is completely backwards from Xlights. How do I do this? How do I adjust this? I tried making a whole bunch of different adjustments, and it's actually much simpler than I thought. So for on these spiral trees, it's right here. So spiral wraps are 4, because there are 4 spiral wraps on these trees. But they're going the wrong way. And then I went through, I aligned our entire show, and this has been bugging me. So then I finally figured it out, and it's this simple. You can actually put -4, and if you watch closely, it'll actually rotate the direction of the spiral tree itself. So we can come in here, and then we can fix that within Xlights, and then hopefully, and we're going to see what happens live because I actually haven't done this, so I'm doing it here with you. We've got 4 of these spiral trees in here, and they're all set the same way here. So we're going to save this, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for number 1 on here, and I'm going to rotate this to where I know number 1 is. Should be that one there. Okay, so number 1 is our blue. I know that number 1 over there is over by the star arch. I'm going to go look at this spiral tree. Number 1 is over by the snowflake arch. And I can rotate this around this way. And so again, it's a little ahead of that snowflake arch there. Okay, so in our show, we've got 2 more spiral trees at the other end. I'm not going to move the other camera, but I know that that is about there, and that one, oops, not that. That one is about there. So I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to check. Now, this is not going to adjust the height. This isn't really going to change the height. That's just dependent on for your upward scrolling. But what it's really going to affect is your left to right scrolling. So we're going to check this left to right scrolling, and it's that simple. So I was struggling to get this to look right because the spirals were going the wrong way, and I was trying to rotate the tree to a specific spot so that it looked right going left to right. Now all I have to do is set the spiral wraps to a negative number to match what's actually in reality, and there you go. Thanks for watching. I hope this video helped. Check out our props, especially these spiral trees, because they look awesome, especially with the easy push pixels and in white. At night, these things pop like crazy. Thanks for watching.